is the moment where the narcissist completely realizes that you are never coming back. They get it, like, they get it. They don't expect it and they don't see it. It's not when you leave, it's when you go silent. It's the moment they realize that you are not coming back. And when this hits, the mask doesn't just fall, it shatters. This is the deepest level of narcissistic collapse. Hello my friends and welcome back. I hope that you're all doing really well. So we're talking about when they realize that you are never coming back and what happens to them, okay, when they are having this realization that you are never going to be coming back to them. Now they do have this, believe it or not, they do have this, and this is what I'm going to be discussing in this video. And I'm going to go into more kind of psychological points. This is why this video is a little bit longer, because I'm going to be going into this a lot more. And I wanted to kind of explore this so that in psychology, using psychology to explain these terms, but also emotionally what's going on for you, but also for them. So let's get into it. What people get wrong about the end. Most people think that the ending is going to be dramatic. There's going to be this huge exit, that perhaps maybe they're going to be feeling really distraught, really upset, that they're going to be like, oh my God, I can't live without this person. But that's just the thing, my friends. The ending is very quiet. It's very solitary. It's not obvious, and it's delayed. That's what happens to us. It's very delayed for them. They always believe that they can come back later. And indeed, that probably has happened throughout your relationship, where they've gone, but then they've come back. They're gone, and then they come back. Because they always know that they can come back to you, and you will always be there. This is why they have behaved the way that they have in this scenario, in this relationship. Because they always believe they're going to be back, and you're going to welcome them back. That you weren't a person, that you were access. They don't lose you when you leave. They lose when they realize that you're no longer available. This is about the delayed realization phase. Why it doesn't hit them immediately. They assume that you will respond eventually, that you're playing games, because they play games. So they think you're going to be playing games, that you'll soften, that you'll miss them. Do you know what? Because you have emotions. You have emotions, and you have showed them this before. So they're thinking, well, they're going to be doing the same thing again. So I'll just stay quiet. I just sit here, you know. But what they will do eventually is they will test access. They're going to be sending you text message. They're going to be watching. There's going to be indirect contact that happens. So what does this really mean for you? They're calm. They're accepting. Your silence is healing you. They're not okay. Okay. They're waiting for you. Then let's talk about them for a minute. Let's get into the juicy part. Okay. The moment it hits them, the break in the control. This is the actual turning point for them. So what you realize is, like, you stop responding to them long term, okay? And they are losing their minds. You're probably thinking, no, Anushka, what the hell are you talking about? You're not reacting emotionally anymore. And what happens is you're starting to move on energetically here, even if they can't see it. So you're starting to move on. So what's happening for them eternally is they're realizing that there is a loss of control here. There's identity destabilization, because they have built, believe it or not, they have built their identity around you, meaning that they are who they are because of you. So look, if they go silent, if they go quiet, okay, they know that they will still be able to come back. So they know it's going to affect you. So however it affects you, whatever you're doing. So like, say, for example, right at the beginning stage, you didn't know they were a narcissist. You're trying to fix this. You're trying to make this okay. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be doing these silent treatments more often, more frequently, but on a lesser scale. So they are going to be quite dramatic. So you see, that's how their behavior is already changing, because of you wanting them back, you're teaching them that they can be more dramatic, more nasty, they can withdraw at moment's notice, that they can behave this way, knowing that they're not going to be able to lose you. Again, this is all ego. This is what ego people do. Okay, and so that's why their identity, their personality, everything has changed. But again, what's happened here is you've adapted that. You've gone silent permanently. You're like, nah, I'm not playing this game anymore. So this is where their personality is adapting again. Their behavior is adapting again. Because the reality is they don't want to lose you. So they are adapting, okay, to accommodate that. That's why you're going to be getting the messages. That's why you're getting narcissistic injury, ego injury. They're panicking beneath that surface. Again, they're never going to show you. They don't want to show you that they're panicking. But this is what is going on. There's a sudden intense hoovering, like, oh my God, I'm actually losing this person. Where are they going? They're leaving me. Oh my God, oh my God. That's what's going on for them. That's what they're thinking. They could go for a collapse where there is an absolute silence. There's a disappearance. You don't hear from them because they don't want you to see them in that state. It's not heartbreak. This is about loss of control. The final spiral where the mask shatters. This is the version of them that most people don't see. There is rage, there is blame, there is projection. In order for them to cope, in order for their ego to cope with this, they have to have someone to blame. It can't be them. That is too painful for them. And remember, their whole psychology is built upon blaming somebody else, putting the blame on someone because it is too hard to cope with. This is from childhood. This is internal. They have an external locus of control that we call this in psychology, where they blame everybody else around them, that they are not the issue. This is a huge defense mechanism that works alongside their ego and builds that identity of theirs. It's a protection at the end of the day. If they were to really realize and admit that this is about them and that they have done something bad, that they are bad, it would shatter their illusion and shatter their understanding of themselves. This is very derogatory. And this, when we're seeing this final spiral, this is exactly what is happening here. They're trying to get you back. So there's going to be smear campaigns. There's going to be sudden personality shifts, that they are good, they are lovely, that they want you to realize that they are this good person, that to take them back. They can't be without you. This is what I'm saying. They don't want to lose you. They don't want you to go anywhere. They want you to stay. So they're going to try and keep this trap. That's what it is, my friends. It's a trap. It's a desperation for you to stay with them. But you don't see the outside. What you're only seeing is the illusion. So why is this happening? Because their identity depended on your control, on your validation. And without you, they fragment. Because they lose the understanding of themselves. It's very confusing. Like, who am I now? Who am I without this person? You regulated them. You were compassionate. You gave a lot from yourself. And they haven't got someone to do that for them right now. So they need it. They want it. This is an important reality check for you to remember. This isn't growth. And this isn't healing. This is destabilization on their part. And people who tend to destabilize means that they have a weak inner core, meaning that they can't cope with change. They can't cope with uncertainty. And they can't cope with not having control over a situation or a person. That isn't okay. That's not healthy. That's not a stable person. And that's what you've got to remember. What is unfolding here is the destabilization of a person that once was controlling you and who once wanted to manipulate you into staying. So that person never showed their real selves. What you were in is a fantasy. Strategic silence versus the silent treatment. This is where people get confused and where damage can happen if you get it wrong. The silent treatment is about punishment. It's about emotional withdrawal to control another person. It creates anxiety and insecurity. The difference, strategic silence. This is about a boundary. This is about emotional detachment for safety. There's no intent to control, only protect oneself. So there is a huge difference between the two of them. You're not doing the silent treatment on the narcissist. What you're doing is this is about a boundary. This is about protecting yourself because you couldn't carry on the way things were. That was harming you. So you're not going to stay in a harmful situation where it's going to affect you so badly. That's why you are withdrawing, to protect yourself. One is manipulation, the other is self-respect. Now, I wanted to add this bit in as well, and I know this is not going to apply to every single person, but this is about protecting your children whilst you are staying silent. You're not getting to disappear on your children just because you're healing. But this is direct, and this isn't the necessary truth, but this is what I want you to know. Cutting off a toxic partner doesn't equal emotionally abandoning your child. What children need is consistency, emotional availability, and stability. So this is how you do both. Do no contact with the partner, not the child. You have age-appropriate communication with your child. Maintain routines, as it always was, as it always will be, because that stabilizes your child. Don't use silence as avoidance. Your child should feel your presence, not your withdrawal. So I hope that bit helps. So healing the price of silence. This is about what people don't say out aloud. Estrangement can happen. Relationships shift. People may not understand your silence. But here's the correction. Silence isn't what breaks relationships. Chaos, inconsistency does. That's what breaks relationships. You don't repair relationships with words. You repair them with patterns. So if they're trying to repair it and they're talking a lot, that's not going to help repair it. How someone repairs a relationship, if you're facing this, that they are coming back to you, that's about consistency, being predictable, showing up, being there. Okay, not switching up behavior and being silent. That's not how you repair relationships. And I don't think the narcissist is capable of that. And this is an acceptance that you kind of need to have here. It's because they are not going to change. And this is where you've got to adapt and see this for what it really is. You don't repair relationships with words. Your actions, patterns, consistency does. So where your power actually comes from, the stoic shift. Don't chase, don't react, and don't explain. Even if you're having to explain yourself to like friends or people that you know or family, okay, you have to transition from the fear of losing them or over-explaining yourself to other people. This is how you have peace without them, okay? Calm doesn't equal chaos. Clarity doesn't come from confusion. And that's what that person offers you. They're not giving you what you need. They're not fulfilling you in any single way. You were, though. You were giving that to them. If you've reached that point where you're not going back, you've already won. You've already done the hard bit. Their spiral is not your responsibility. It's not about you putting it right for them. Comment, I'm not going back, if you are in this chapter. Okay, what I would say, if you are in this stage, I've got a 30-day trauma bond reset. This will really help you if you are in this stage or if you're in between stages. Please see the detail below, because you can break a trauma bond in 30 days, and this is exactly how I give you a step-by-step guide on how to do it. Details are in the description box. If you want to go deeper, you want something more long-term and perhaps maybe don't want to go into therapy per se, I do have the mentorship where I do post in there probably like twice a week, and we are going to be starting to do lives on there. So do check it out if you wanted further guidance. But of course, if you wanted a one-to-one, if you wanted a consultation, I also do have availability. All the details are in the description box below. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope it's helped. Please do give it a thumbs up if it has resonated with you, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.